Happy Scorpio. Welcome to your 14 rune scope with me. My name is Amanda. Just want to remind you to check out the video for your rising sign as well, if you know it, because that can give you some more information about what issues you'll be dealing with in the month of Earth. Sometimes it can be more accurate than this very general sun sign reading, if this is your sun sign. Of course, the only way to get a reading only for you is to schedule one with me. I do those on Skype. It's $5 for a half an hour session. Drop me a line at the email address in this video or below this video if you want to set up an appointment. It can take me a few days to get back to you sometimes. That just means that there were some people ahead of you. I do promise that I will get to you. Just please be patient with me. I am going to be using the Vampire Tarot for the spirits, to get into the spirit of me. As you can see, I've dressed up for the occasion. But of course, also using the runes, as this is a rune scope. So let's get to it and see what energies are going to be coming into play for you over Scorpio. See what they want to tell us. Okay. Let's see what our tarot cards can add. And I will try to hold these up as I go through, so you guys can see the cards. All right, Scorpio, your challenge for the month of Earth. Maybe dealing with disappointing news, because we have the King of Swords reversed here. So this can be a lawyer. This can be somebody, the lawyer for the opposing person. So those of you who are involved in legal things, if it's a divorce or a dispute of some sort, the difficulty can be turning it around to your benefit. So, or it could be that, with these runes here, that you just want to move past this. You just want to move past all of this and get on with life. So for a lot of you, I do feel like this would be a breakup, a divorce. If it's not a lawyer, maybe this is just, having to deal with bad news or nasty messages going back and forth. With swords, sometimes this can be the internet in our modern times. Nasty messages, nasty emails, nasty social media stuff going on. And you trying to move on with your life or start a new beginning, but you can't because you keep having to deal with this mess. And this has to do with a disappointment. Something didn't turn out the way you hoped it would. So it doesn't have to be a relationship, but normally with this rune reversed, it can be a personal relationship. So something did not turn out the way that you want, and now you're having to deal with the repercussions of that, and it may be in the form of disappointed clients, disappointed boss, a relationship, a disappointed former lover or former mate. And your challenge is to get past this and kind of turn it around. You not get past all of it in Scorpio. Maybe it just started recently with Mercury retrograde, and there are going to be delays around things like that, and messages and communication and travel and all of that stuff. So there can be misunderstandings. Emails can go astray. Maybe your communication is blocked. It doesn't get to the right person, and you don't hear back, and you're like, what's going on? They're like, I never received that email, things like that. So, but I feel like that's more of just a nuisance. It's on top of some heavier things that you're dealing with here, Scorpio. So I think we do also have 2 eclipses in over. One of them is in your sign. So definitely check out the astrology videos to find out more about how that's affecting your houses, in your natal chart. That'll tell you what areas of life this eclipse is affecting for you. But I do think a lot of you are dealing with some relationship stuff, a relationship coming to an end here. And, or maybe one that came to an end a long time ago and you're still you're not over it. You're still dealing with issues from it. But, the truth is that, there'll be a shocking truth that comes out, Scorpio. Now, if you've been hiding something, or it can be the way that it comes out, and, it could come out in a way that you are not happy with. But the thing is, if it's your secret and it comes out, it's to break you out of an old pattern. It's to get you to recognize something about yourself that maybe you didn't want to recognize. Maybe you've been ignoring it. Maybe it's an issue that you have been suppressing. Maybe this is something from the past that you haven't dealt with, and it just keeps coming up in your relationships with other people. This happens a lot with childhood trauma, childhood abuse. And then we take this out, we carry this through life, and it manifests in our relationships with everyone in our lives. So, for some of you, that may be how this is working out. For others, it may be someone else who just shocks you. It looks like you'd be trying to do some damage control here, or to just deal with the situation. But for those of you who have been, kind of stuck, if you've been repeating the same patterns, something's going to happen in order to break you out of that. Any lies or deceptions are going to kind of come crumbling down with the Tower card. So, at least you will know the truth, because we can't move forward with an illusion, no matter what the illusion is. So no matter what it's surrounding, we can't deal with anything or move forward until that is kind of shattered and, gotten out of the way. If you've been on the wrong course, if it's you, Scorpio, that has been doing something wrong, recognize it. If you've been on a course that just keeps bringing you hardship and pain, for God's sake, get off of that path, whether it's a relationship or, whatever this is that's just causing you pain and misery, get out of it. And now for a lot of you, Scorpio, you're a fixed sign. So what I'm seeing here and kind of getting here is, if you have what this Tower card can symbolize here, especially with these runes, if you've been putting off a change that you should make, staying in a bad relationship, staying in a job that's not fulfilling, running a business that is sucking up everything that you have, just draining you. Something will happen to get you out of that. And it can, on the surface, seem, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. But at the end of that, on the other side of that, it's actually a very positive thing. You would not have changed it on your own. This had to happen to get you off of this path. You just put something off for too long. You put off a change for too long. It's another way this can work. And it doesn't have to be you this is happening to, Scorpio. It can be somebody you're close to that this is happening to. They may be suffering through or dealing with something, very difficult coming to light, a difficult truth. But at least when something comes out, we can deal with it. If something is totally masked and in an illusion, we can't handle it or move on from it or do anything with it. So this is going to allow a shift. After, I feel like we're, maybe the month that, this comes out, whatever this is, but you'll be able to fully deal with it in the rest of the year. Because remember, you also have Saturn in your sign, and that's going to be moving out in September. So, this is kind of the final wallop, as it were, for a lot of you. Again, though, for some of you, this is just a situation happening to someone around you, and you are having to, it affects you too, because you're close to this person. Help that's going to be available to you. And I find this very interesting. And with this rune here. So the advice for you, or the help that's going to be available for you in Scorpio, has to do with the Lover's card reversed. This is normally a triangle situation, a love triangle. Or it could be 3 people in a business partnership, 3 people working on a work project, 3 partners in a business. The advice to you is that you need to recognize the error here, or what kind of got you into this sticky situation, and change it. The advice is to just admit it. So, okay, let's take this relationship situation, or this, divorce kind of situation. Maybe your ex is demanding more money because you had an affair, or you had started a relationship with someone else. And, the solution is going to be to admit it. But maybe you try to hide it. Just admit it, Scorpio, because if you try to hide it, it's going to be a help to you that this comes out. Also, if you have been, involved in a triangle situation, and you don't have to be the one that's married. Maybe you are involved with someone who's married and you're the third person. The help that's going to be available to you in that scenario would be to not repeat this mistake. Admit it as a mistake and kind of get out of it. Disassociate yourself from that. Remove yourself from that. But I mean, it seems like the person or the catalyst maybe that started all of this is going to fail. This rune implies failure. So, I mean, if somebody's, kind of maybe who is married, who's trying to kind of get you to be their person on the side, I mean, you're not even gonna consider that. Maybe because you've been through a situation like that is similar. But for those of you who are involved in a triangle situation, most likely where it's going to come out, whether you were the one keeping the secret or not. So if you are the third person, you'll be hearing from this person's mate. You'll be hearing from a lawyer. Somebody be contacting you. The word statement comes to mind. So and honestly, I don't know that much about divorce proceedings. I've never been divorced. So I do not know what goes on, but it seems like they're trying to prove that the other person was involved in something, or somebody's trying to prove that you were involved with someone else during this relationship, something. Woo, Scorpio. But the advice would be for those of you who aren't going through a divorce, who aren't married, who aren't involved in any of that, is to not get involved as a third party in any kind of relationship like that. You'll be setting yourself up to be dealing with some bad mojo in the not too distant future. You don't want to get in the middle of that mess. Is basically the message here, if you can avoid it. Now, what can't be changed about the month of Aurora? We've got the Two of Wands reversed, and we also have Iwas, the rune of delays. This is also a very protective rune. So I do think that you are going to have protection around you when it comes to delays. Don't respond too quickly to any communication over Scorpio, because again, with Mercury retrograde, it may be that you type before you think, or if it's in a one-to-one situation, don't feel like you have to say the first thing that pops into your head, because it may be the wrong thing to say. You may be speaking in anger. Sleep on it. Take some time to think about some things. Again, we got some angry messages maybe coming to you. And for those of you that this isn't a relationship, this could just be around family. This could be a family member or somebody. There could be some drama going on with family, and you're getting nasty messages about it or hearing about other members of the family. It'd be centered around your mom or a mother-in-law, an older female figure in the family. But she's coming up in the upright. So it seems like, she would be the one that is maybe trying to fend this off, and you kind of feel like you have to come to her defense. That could be where these hasty messages are, because if somebody threatens your mama, most people are going to be like, hey, step off. You're going to have a few choice words for that person. And I feel like I'm getting a real strong vibe about that. But also with, an estranged person, somebody you used to be in a relationship with, definitely think through what you're going to say or how you're going to respond to any messages that you get in Scorpio. Because if you just immediately respond, I think you'll regret maybe what you have to say. Definitely sleep on it, give it some time. Nobody says you have to respond right then in these days of email and social media and all that stuff. That's kind of one of the benefits, is that, you can just kind of go back and respond whenever you have time or whenever you feel like it or have thought about your response. So, as far as what's going to be going on by the end, kind of the overall, how you're going to feel about it when it's all said and done, is that you're going to get a chance to think about your actions, what you've done, and your future actions. So again, by the end of it, you still be delaying your actions, but you're going to know where you're going next. You are going to be planning that. You are going to have a plan as far as your course of action for dealing with these issues and other things. Don't be over eager to push ahead until, of course, Mercury is kind of out of its shadow period, which it will be direct by the last week of Air, but certainly if you could hold off until the first week of Air as far as moving forward with any action plans, that's going to suit you best, Scorpio. Particularly regarding your future, what you want for yourself in the future, who you want to be with, what you want to do, where you want to go from here. I do think you will have your actions planned out for and beyond, but it's just kind of, you're going to be waiting for the dust to clear, the dust to settle. Dust to settle, smoke to clear. That's what I mean. I was getting them confused. You're going to be waiting for all, because there's a lot of, I'm not going to lie, Scorpio, a lot of upheaval going on, you know, and if you're watching this on the first side, maybe it's already started in November, so that you know kind of that's going to continue over. But definitely deal with whatever comes up head on. If you deny it, you're going to be working against the energy, and it's really you're gonna make it tougher on yourself than it needs to be, Scorpio. Go with the energy. We have to sometimes admit we were wrong. When other people admit they were wrong, you know, sometimes our first initial response is to lambast them and say, well, hell yeah, you were wrong, you know, and just point out all the ways in which they were wrong, or they wronged you, or, you know, but stop and think. If you can just, if you take anything away from this reading over Scorpio, stop and think. That's what I'm getting loud and clear. So I do hope that was helpful. I will see you back here for your birthday month in November. Again, have a happy